we're going. All right. Welcome back to the pod. It is a week later, Tuesday, August 22nd.
And oh, what a special day it is.
Oh, what a day.
32 motherfucking trips around the sun. Happy birthday to the dead man walking.
Brr, brr, brr. DJ noises.
Another year around the sun, another year closer to going 6 feet under. But such is life, so that's why I gotta make the most of it.
Not me, baby. Never dying.
Elon's gonna upload his...
Dead man walking.
Yeah. On that zombie shit. With an AI brain.
I am gonna be frozen, cryogenically frozen, and revived in the future.
Like Cassius' son. No, but Bob and I were talking earlier because he brought it up and talked to a couple other people too, how so much can change over a year. So
yes,
there's been a lot of things that changed. John Griffith got married around this time last year, and now what have we got? All the changes now. John's obviously married. After that, he's expecting a kid.
Yeah.
Willie's expecting a kid. Michael Ann got married. Sal got engaged.
Oh my God! Yeah. Oh my God.
So much has been happening. So many big life changes, and then everyone else have like smaller accomplishments and changes, like myself, getting a new place, getting a new girl, going through a couple of girls to find the right one, but you might be there. It's early, but you might be there.
Yeah. And yeah, it's been crazy, but the thing that is always the same is Dynasty and football, and we just wrapped up the next preseason week. Hard Knocks will be coming out tonight, and we figured we'd do a quick pod while we're getting ready to eat some ribs. Got it smoking over here if you hear the fan going. And yeah, I think we're gonna do a quick episode about some blips or chips, just based off of the preseason. And so we were kind of going through the top performers. I already dropped Elijah Dotson, my chip from last week.
Short-lived.
He was just a camp body. Yep. Just churning that roster.
R.I.P. to D Prince. He had the waivers as well.
D Prince, yeah, I thought he would be.
It was a make or break it week for him. I didn't watch the game or anything. I just checked the box score. I was like, 4 carries for 12 yards. I don't think that's gonna make you make the roster, my guy.
Not making the cut.
Yeah.
Shit. Same with Elijah. He had like four carries, similar, probably like 30 yards or something. So.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see like the teams that like have been playing their starters and like ones that don't. Like, why is Anthony Richardson not playing in the preseason? Or Justin Fields maybe, but still he should be fucking playing a little bit, at least a quarter. But they like go based on like what the other coaches are gonna do, and I don't totally understand that. It's like, play your game and do what's ever best for your team.
Yeah.
And you cannot. I don't know. I don't care if someone says, "Oh, Anthony Richardson's been against the 2 defense of the other team." Who gives a fuck? Maybe how he builds his confidence and can start to visualize himself being a great NFL quarterback. I don't know, I just thought that was weird. But like,
yeah.
My point is that guys like your guy from the Chargers, I don't even know his name, Elijah Dotson.
Yeah.
Like, he's the type of guy that had opportunity, maybe because some of the starters weren't playing or some of the regulars weren't playing. And then now when they maybe have a more solid rotation, it's like, oh, he's in. So you have to be conscious of who's playing what games. Aaron Rodgers, supposedly he's going to be playing the last preseason game. We'll see how long.
Yeah.
Like, probably just like 2 drives, I would assume.
Yeah, Jordan Love's playing. I forget who else is playing, but it'll be an interesting week 3 of the preseason.
Oh, the Packers are going to play their starters again?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
I think they should. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs have been playing Patrick Mahomes every game so far.
Sam Howell, one of our, I guess our first blipper chip, he played the whole first half and did pretty well. Everyone's been clamoring about him. His value's going up. He was the illegal pickup, as Will called him earlier, because he picked him up when He wasn't supposed to add anyone technically.
Well, it was literally right as I transitioned the league from last year to the new year, and then all the players were available. He picked them up literally like seconds
That's right.
later.
Yeah.
Sam Howell, another one of my exes. But yeah, he's like one of the guys where like for someone that just needs like a week-to-week body, like say like for injury they have no one to start, maybe Willie gets a 3rd round pick at some point of the year for Sam Howell. Like that's a win to me. Because I don't think, unless he thinks he's going to be a franchise quarterback, but I don't think anyone really thinks that.
At this point, if he is still playing, you know, like starting all season, I could see. I mean, I don't know what I'd give up for him, but people like him. I feel like in our league, there's like Commanders bias a little bit, but other leagues really like him, and with good reason.
Yeah, I mean, the Commanders, to me, it just seems like he just doesn't seem like a franchise guy. Like, yes, he could have a good year maybe being like a Taylor Heineke stretch they maybe have, but it's so hard to stay healthy as a quarterback on these bad teams, especially in the AFC East where they have the Eagles D-line going against them and the Cowboys D-line with fucking Micah Parsons and even the Giants with Kayvon Thibodeau. Like, it's hard for these quarterbacks to stay healthy. That's why it's hard to sometimes value these middling ones, because you don't want to give up a 2nd round pick and then the guy gets hurt after 8 games or whatever. So. Yeah. But I definitely think that he is the Redskins in general are like a chip type offense. You saw Jahan Dotson, who's going pretty late in like redraft leagues, like something like the 7th round. Like people like JSN's going over him.
Yeah. Christian Watson, George Pickens. I mean, pick your poison, but I like Dotson. He's definitely like technically sound, which is pretty huge. So what do you think, Sam Howell? You think he's a blip?
No, I think he's a chip in a sense that he can give you some spot starts, but that's because I don't have high expectations for him. Like, you have to be realistic with your expectations. So for what he is, I think he's a chip. He's just like a low end. He could be anywhere from like the 18th to the 30 to like the 28th best quarterback.
Yeah. For that reason, I think I'm going to say he is a blip. I know he did look good, but I think that it was, it's tough against some of the top defenses, and he's not going to have as long maybe to throw. He also doesn't eat red meat. He only eats chicken tenders, I think, right? That's the tenders guy.
I don't know that much about him. I didn't know that.
He's like never had a steak or something like that.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that's never mind.
That's a red flag.
He's a blip for me too.
Yeah.
He's a blip for me, for sure.
But I mean, Jahan Dotson had a nice performance. I don't know who else from that game. I guess.
Well, we have Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers
looked. Granted, he was wide open in the flats, but he still had a good like 10 yards. We had to make it into the end zone and kind of make people miss. He looks quick. He looks like
his feet were moving.
He looks like a guy that's not scared. Like he wants to contact. He's like
true.
He seems like a little bit of a slower Tyreek Hill, but maybe more. He's like a stronger, not slower. I would say a stronger Tyreek Hill, where he's like more willing to lay a hit on someone. Like he just seems like a football player that's been undersized his whole career and wants all the smoke. So I think that's gonna be a great pickup extension of. Maybe Lamar Jackson doesn't run as much because he maybe has more design, like little short throws to guys like Zay Flowers and stuff. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Chip for me. Chip on Zay.
Zay's a chip for me. I really like him, and he's had like a crazy life. He's got like a bunch of siblings and stuff, and the reason he stayed an extra year was because he's like the first one to go to college. So. I mean, fuck it. He's a hard worker. Yeah, he's a chip. Looking at that was from that game. That was pretty much it, I think. Looking at our other Blipstick chips, we got someone on the commissioner's team, Tyjae Spears.
No ACL, no problem.
Yeah, he looked really good. I thought that was a great pick by them, and he was awesome at Tulane, honestly. So I think he's gonna be a chip. Yeah, fuck 2 ACLs being torn. It's a new day. It's a new age, health-wise. Running backs can come back from that shit, no problem, as long as they take the time.
And he's had that shit damn near his whole life. Like, I don't think that he knew that he didn't have ACLs. Like, I don't think he actually, like, tore his ACLs officially. I don't think he ever had surgery for him. I think it was just one of those things he probably, like, didn't have ACLs when he was playing in probably middle school, high school type shit, and probably didn't have time or money to get a doctor or whatever. But anyways, fuck, I lost my train of thought.
What do you think? Is he's a chip. You got him in the 3rd round?
This is what I was going to say is, so I mentioned Caleb Williams last week and how I only watched like 2 games of Caleb Williams. The second game that I watched of Caleb Williams was their bowl game against Tulane. And Tajay Spears was fucking electric in that game.
Yeah, he was.
So after seeing him play, I was like, because I initially had 1 pick in the second, and like a middle pick in the 3rd, but then I traded with Stevie for J.K. Dobbins, all those picks, so I didn't have any picks. And then it was the 3rd round, and John Griffith had the 302 and the 303 or something like that. And I was like, fuck, there's 2 players that are out there that I really like right now. And it was Roshan Johnson and Tajay Spears, who I still wanted in the 2nd round, like when I had my pick initially, him or Roshan. So I traded my 2024 second for those 2 picks. But yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry, it's one of those things where he's going to have like an opportunity. Like if Henry ever gets hurt, he's getting older, who knows? But he's also a total change of pace. Like last year, they had that Hillman guy. I think he got out for the year, maybe got hurt against the Packers, but he still had opportunities. And I feel like the older Henry gets, the higher likelihood it is that he gets injured, and maybe the more that the weight that they take off his shoulders. Bill, come here.
Hillard.
I think he might be pooping back there, honestly. He like poops in the woods. he's a shy pooper. But yeah, that run was fun. I think it was a really terrible angle by the safety, so I'm not going to get like too hyped up about it or anything. But yeah, I think he's a chip. He's definitely a guy, if you have in your team, you're holding. I don't think there's a point in trading him unless, like, some people draft him in the 2nd. So are you going to trade him for a 2nd, or are you going to wait to see what he does? So I would wait to see what he does.
Absolutely, yeah. D. Henry's getting old, and you know that offense is gonna need someone. We got
Treylon Burks hurt.
Yep.
Kyle Phillips, their slot receiver, just got hurt today.
Yep.
So
they
that
need Willis.
that offense is gonna be a fucking mess. So they have
Willis.
They have Levis, Willis, and Tannehill. So they're in the AFC South, which seems easy, and they have a good coach, Vrabel, who might keep them in some games, but they gotta be looking at that new stadium that they're trying to build, and maybe one of those top 2 picks. The tank might be on for them, dude. Like, they look fucking bad.
Yeah. So another candidate we have this week is Rashee Rice with a nice performance. I thought he got all 9 catches, but it says here 8 for 9, which is still fucking good.
Sydney's
96 yards.
Brother.
Sidney Rice, yeah. Sidney Rice's brother, Rashee, on Michael Ann's team. So
I had to look that up too. I was like, fuck, is this guy on John's team? Because I thought he would maybe like double up with Mahomes and Rice. And I looked and I was like, oh, thank God. But yeah, that's Michael Ann could use someone to pop off in her wide receiver room. If you can get that value, he probably went in like the 3rd round, I'm assuming.
You have to figure some wide receiver pops in Kansas City. Now, who it is, you know, it's anyone's guess. You got MVS, you got Sky Moore, you got Ross, the boss.
He still looks so slow to me. I don't know. Like, everyone hypes him up on Twitter all the time, just because like he was initially going to be like a 1st overall pick before he got hurt in Clemson.
Didn't he get hurt again now?
But then he practiced the next day. He got carted off the field, but then he practiced the next day. So I think he's good.
Well, what do you think about Rashee?
So I actually disagree with what you're saying, how someone's going to have to pop off. I think that the precedent is kind of set at this point with Patrick Mahomes, where he has his one main target for fantasy production, which is Travis Kelce, and the rest are just like fillers in there. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Patriots, maybe with the Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski role. Like maybe the best that someone could do is a Julian Edelman, but Julian Edelman ran similar routes that Kelce does. Gronkowski was a little more vertical, so I think that the type of guys that would fill in for the Chiefs are always just going to be the vertical guys. But who knows? I mean, they had Tyreek Hill. Obviously, he was great, but I don't actually see anyone other than maybe Sky Moore. But again, I think he runs the same type of routes that Kelce does. So I think that just Mahomes. It's crazy to say, but I think just Mahomes and Kelce are like guys you can feel truly confident in Kansas City, which is the best.
Yeah. Jarek McKinnon provided some value, and Coco, as Jake calls him. But I actually agree. I think if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Sky Moore, and I don't know how that looks. Mahomes can just throw it to anyone.
And let's not forget about Kadarius Toney, all right?
Tony, absolutely. I actually was forgetting about him. Yeah, there's a lot of competition for targets. So
Tony just doesn't fucking practice, dude. Get on the field, my guy. But yeah, Rashee Rice, I would say more Blip, just because the product of the situation. I don't think he's gonna ever be. Like for me, for you to be a chip, I think that you have to be like flex worthy, and I'm thinking like top 35-ish receiver on the year.
Yeah.
Like if that's a realistic outcome, then I would say you're a chip as these type of like young receivers go, where if you can play them as a flex, but I don't see him being though.
I actually agree. Yeah, 100%. So I'm gonna say Blip, and then I'm gonna ask you about our next guy and flip the ribs quick. But what about? We had someone perform pretty decently, is in a decent situation. Kendre Miller. I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to draft him, but he went pretty early. He was the youngest RB of one of those RBs to come out. Maybe Bijan was younger, but I don't think so, no.
I have definitely Kendre Miller thoughts. So, again, I didn't watch much college football, but I watched towards the end of the year. And when I would watch him in the Final Four at TCU, I would watch this guy run. Even though I think he got hurt in the championship I think it might have been the semifinal got hurt. But regardless, I was watching a little bit of their game. I was like, this guy reminds me of Javonte Williams pre-injury. And like his style of running. And I loved it. And then before Alvin Kamara, they announced his suspension would only be three games. In redraft, I was looking at Kendre Miller as someone to target because I still disrespect Jamal Williams. He had so many fucking touchdowns. David Montgomery will probably get those 1-yarders this year. But Jamal Williams, the person, is cool. But I was looking at it in redraft as, maybe if Kamara suspended like 6 games, you give me 6 games, I think that Kendre Miller can surpass Jamal Williams. So now that timeline is a little bit smaller with it only being 3 games. But I still see Kamara as potentially like a trade target to a team that would maybe take on that salary. Like let's say the Dolphins are competing and Jeff Wilson gets hurt and fucking Mostert gets hurt and A-Chain is just not up to snuff or whatever. And they're like, all right, well, he's going to be cheaper than Jonathan Taylor. Let's just take Alvin Kamara for these 2 years and get our little dump off. So I think that Kendre Miller could be a potential chip. I probably wouldn't draft him in redraft. I don't think he's worth drafting. I probably would still draft Jamal Williams over him just for those first 3 weeks because he's going to have the touchdown opportunities. But I mean, if Kendre Miller can ball out in the first 3 games, I think that he has very, very, very high value chip opportunities. But it's a gamble for sure. It's dependent on Kamara.
Yeah, I mean, we're no stranger to Jamal Williams. I mean, how can you hate the guy, too?
Mm-hmm.
So, Kendre is great, though. We know he's talented. I think you kind of liked him early because you kind of liked QJ and Kendre from that TCU team this year. And it's easy to see why. They were really good. Kendre obviously forced what's his face to transfer, Zach Evans.
Oh yeah.
So I would say he is a chip too. I think he can fill in, and agreed, not for a redraft, but you never know by the time that championship comes around.
Yeah.
He could be a really nice flex. And yeah, he is young, so
I would say a no in redraft, depending on how deep your benches are. Like generally in redraft, your bench is pretty shallow. But if you have a deep bench in redraft, he's definitely worthy to pick Ben for sure. But if you're looking at a guy, let's say like Roshan Johnson is kind of comparable now with regards to like this year impact. And like one of those guys are going to be like one of the last guys you kind of draft. But it's kind of crazy where Kendra Miller went 202, I think, in our draft. 202 or 203 in our draft. And we're talking about him in the likes of Tajay Spears and Roshan Johnson, guys that went a whole round after him. So it just shows you how much can change within the preseason and once the season's actually here.
True.
But his ceiling is way higher than those players.
Here's a guy I didn't even know he did decent, but Keontae Ingram for Arizona. You know who that is?
I do, yeah. I don't fuck with James Conner at all this year. I think their whole team is going to suck. I don't think that...
Facts.
Even though they kind of sucked last year too, he still did okay. But you can only play hurt so much, and I don't know. I think he's a prime candidate to get hurt. Hey, we don't even want to rush you back because we don't want to win games. So your time with us is up. He either gets cut or traded. He won't get cut, but he'll either get traded or just like sit out with injury to let the young guys like a Keontae Ingram step up. Which he played like one Thursday night game last year, and he like balled out super hard for them. And then he didn't really play the rest of the year, but that's a guy that is on Jake Scheck's team right now, and I think is a good hold for sure because someone's gonna pop off in that Cardinals offense.
It's got to be a running back. Probably.
I would put him as a chip, I guess. Yeah, I don't think he's a blip, but
yeah, one of those championship later guys maybe too. Even if James Conner holds on longer, so I'll agree there too.
I got the next one.
All right.
Jalen Warren. If we're speaking of the backups on, see, these are I was like, there's so much that happened this week. I was like briefly trying to like think of all the guys that popped off, and I was like, oh, Jalen Warren
had that 62.
Has anyone seen the 62-yard run or whatever? But yeah, he had like that touchdown, and I think that Najee Harris is obviously a little more talented. Not obviously, but
yeah, I'd say so.
Than James Conner, like. Coming from the Steelers, maybe getting a little Wally pipped, but I think that he's just going to have opportunities. I think Mike Tomlin's the type of coach that will have a short leash and just play the hot hand. Like he won't feel like inclined to like play certain guys because of like their draft capital and stuff like that. So if Jalen Warren is balling out, I think he's going to have opportunities. And if Najee Harris gets hurt, he's a chip for me too. He's definitely a guy in redraft that once you fill up your roster spots, if you own Najee Harris, for sure, I'm taking Jalen Warren. But even if you don't, he's a guy that if you have the space for, you're okay with dropping if you have an injury or whatever during the season in redraft, but hold on to him while you can.
Yeah.
Chip.
He's been a big trade target for a lot of like analysts, I think, and he had a really good like efficiency metric of yards per carry and others too. So Najee sometimes doesn't have that breakaway speed, I guess, which is where, of course, it's nice to have someone else. But yeah, when Najee's out, I think Tomlin does like to ride his RBs. He kind of does have workhorse guys, but again, you're right. I don't think he just plays the hot hand. So
shout out Rashad Mendenhall.
Who knows what'll happen? Yeah, shout out lots of guys like.
Le'Veon Bell was one of the last great fantasy running backs before he fucking held out like all these running backs and then went to the Jets.
Le'Veon, yeah, he was really good. He killed the Badgers, of course. But yeah, I would say chip too. You know, you got to hold this guy. Switching to a wide receiver, we got Boutte with a nice little route up the middle for a touchdown on Who was that? Was that even? Oh, it was
Bailey
Carrington Valentine on the Packers. Who the Packers have been super high on this guy. I think he was a 6th round draft pick or something, and he has looked good.
I saw it bringing a little handsy. That's what they were saying.
Oh.
Little handsy, little DPIs.
Little handsy. Well, we're a tough football team now, so we'll take it. We need to toughen up a little bit.
Weren't they like? I didn't watch him, but wasn't Elton Jenkins like getting into some shit with the Patriots?
Yes.
Like they practiced together all week, and they were like.
Aaron
Jones
before
the game,
too.
During the game.
Yeah, practices. I don't know about the game, but someone got kicked out of practice.
I think during the game because someone hit Jordan Love after he slid.
Oh, that's right.
That's
like
right.
Little,
like scuffle too.
That's right.
Tensions were high. 2 teams coming off Hall of Fame quarterbacks and legendary runs, trying to find their identities. Is it fake tough? We'll see.
Super similar. We're like in such a similar position to them. The Steelers, the fucking Falcons. You know,
Falcons don't belong up there.
They don't, but it's almost. They are in a similar like just position wise as us. Young offense. Maybe a better defense.
I meant more just like the reign of like I think like the win percentage, like it's us and the Patriots are like head and shoulders the last like 20 years or whatever than the rest of the league. Kayshon Boutte, I actually don't have a chip or blip on him. I think it's cool that he's like progressing. They have another receiver on their team that I keep seeing tweets about that he's kind of like a slot guy. He was like a 6th or 7th round pick. I think it's like Dixon or
Demario Douglas, I think.
Yeah, it's DD, something like that. So I think that he's a guy I would say is more like more chip worthy than Kayshon Boutte because he seems like a Patriots kind of identity type guy where he's like just doing the dirty work and just doing his job.
Yeah, I mean they got the system now for the system QB and feel like they're gonna spread it out. So they were looking at Boutte maybe not making the team, even though he had this nice touchdown run. I still like their wide receiver room is so weird. They got Devontae Parker, they got Juju.
Again.
Yeah, they got this Demario Douglas, Tyquan Thornton. So too many mouths to feed, plus Hunter Henry
and no one to feed him.
No one to feed him. Ramondre is gonna eat it all up.
Gesicki got hurt. He's out for the year. We'll see if Yanni drops him. But no, the Patriots habitually have been terrible at drafting receivers. I actually liked N'Keal Harry in college. That's when I first started gambling on college football. Is when he would play late ass games for Arizona State when I was chasing, and I would always bet on him.
Yeah.
Rashad Penny used to play in those games too at San Diego State, so that's why I'm kind of sympathetic towards those guys. But I actually think that Bailey Zappi's one to watch out for. Honestly, like I think that Mac Jones has 6 weeks to basically see if he's the guy or not. If he can't do it within 6 weeks, I think the Patriots are gonna be off him because Bailey Zappi. I only watched like a little bit of that game, but we saw him in Lambeau last year. Did they beat the Packers or did he? We came back and won that game, right, by like 1 point. But he played and he started the second half after Mac Jones, I believe, or I don't know when he came in, but he was balling.
Yep.
He lit us up. So he got to play back in Lambeau again and
NCAA passing record, Western Kentucky. He can ball. He can throw, at least. You know he can zip it
and
to these people.
It sounds so, like, trivial, but
Zippity
that
zappity.
is the most important thing for a quarterback is to be able to just, like, throw the ball. Like, and be, like, accurate. Like, you look at, like, Trey Lance, and it's just like, oh, God. It's just...
Yeah.
I don't like drafting always on intangibles, so if you can throw the ball, then you should have the mental... I mean, if they have the mental capacity, you should be able to be decent, like Sam Howell.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to say Blip for Boutte as well. And I don't know if there was anyone else.
Any tight ends do anything?
Tight ends?
Click on the tight end.
Oh, good call. Darren Waller?
Yeah, Darren Waller. Darren Waller has been getting a lot of love.
Lots of targets.
He's going high in the... we talked about him last week?
No.
Yeah, he's going high in the I thought I did because I brought up like fucking Richie James or something. But yeah, he's going really high in redraft. Like he's like the 4th receiver taken after Hawkinson, like pretty high every single time, like going before Kyle Pitts. So that'll be interesting if he can stay healthy. But the Giants are an interesting offense.
Yeah, I mean he's their number 1 receiver there. Yeah, I think he's gonna go crazy.
You do? You're high on him?
Yeah. I think they really like him, and sometimes things just work out. They don't really have other guys. They have like their wide receiver room is so weird too. Like it's all the same guy.
Yeah, 5 of the same dudes. I know exactly what you mean because I don't really know any of their names. It's like Shepard, fucking
Slayton,
guys like that.
Paris Campbell.
Oh, they got Paris Campbell.
Wandale, yeah.
But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But I guess I'm just a little bit scarred. I don't want Darren Water to hurt me again, but he might be a smart pickup. I just hate tight ends.
I guess I forgot Pat Fryermuth got a tutty.
Oh yeah, Pay Fry is up the same, like a 25-yarder. The Steelers in general look good.
Yeah.
Did George Pickens get a tutty too, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think they had 3, or that might have been last week, but I don't know. But they got George Pickens balling out, Jalen Warren. So do you think Kenny Pickett?
I actually do like him this year.
Kenny Two Gloves? Do you think he's a blip or a chip?
So, for Dynasty, I'd say he's probably a chip. He was a quarterback to come out of that class, and Steelers just they'll roll with you through the thick and the thin, I guess.
I know, they are loyal as fuck.
And they love him because he went to Pitt, so it's tough to see. And they've got good weapons for him, so it should all work out, hopefully. He can run a little bit, too, if he really needs to, so it's like, what else do you really need? 2 gloves.
Yeah, I have a hard time evaluating Kenny Pickett because I like him as a person. Like, he's been on part of my take and stuff. Like, he talks to Jersey Jerry and shit on the phone.
Yeah.
Like, so he's got a good personality, I think, or just like a loose personality where like he doesn't take himself too seriously, which I think is endearing, I guess.
Yeah.
But I still just I don't know.
You're not feeling it.
I just have a hard time valuing him because I don't ever see him as being a top 10 fantasy quarterback unless he like sneaks into like 12 and is like a Derek Carr, which he was for a couple of years, but I don't see the reason in investing with him because I see a bunch of Kenny Pickett's around the league. Like I'd rather have Sam Howell for way cheaper than Kenny Pickett.
Fair.
And then yeah, in redraft, you'd be if you don't get one of the top guys, let's say you get 2 like intermediary guys, like you have Tua and Daniel Jones or something like that, or Tua and Jared Goff as your 2 guys. Maybe then you would get someone like a Kenny Pickett as a 3rd quarterback. But most redrafts I probably wouldn't pick him because I'd rather have like 2 quarterbacks in general, even if you just start one.
Yeah, it's probably tough to pass up some of those wide receivers that are going around there, and maybe even some of the running backs.
Or even like Roshan Johnson or Kendrick Miller or not Tajay Spears, but something like that. Like you're just like, all right, rather than having just 3rd quarterback on my roster, my bench, I'm probably never going to play. I'm just going to get this lotto ticket.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for the people.
Anything else notable? Jackson Smith and Jigba got hurt.
Oh yeah.
So he fractures his wrist, but somehow is still maybe going to be available for the season, which I kind of understand because the other day I was playing basketball and I fucking jammed my finger. It hurt so bad, more than a regular jammed finger. I was like, I think I fractured this shit, but I still maybe could have, but it doesn't hurt anymore. So maybe it's like a situation like that, just some like random little bone in there. But he is small. JSN is small.
Yeah.
And he's going very high in redraft, like around like the sixth round now. So from being like the 3rd receiver on the team, and it's interesting the fallout that Tyler Lockett might have because everyone's really high on Tyler Lockett. They're like, oh, everyone's just suspecting Tyler Lockett. He's been for the last 4 years a top 15 receiver. But my argument to that is he also hasn't had Jackson Smith and Jigba running similar routes as him. So I'm not high on Tyler Lockett. I'm a sell on Tyler Lockett.
What if this turns into a Tyler Boyd situation? Like, you had a quality guy,
That's a good
and
point.
the new wide receiver comes in and makes them redundant.
Yeah, you're just another possession guy. That's actually, I never thought about that, but yeah, Tyler Boyd is very comparable to what Tyler Lockett was. Because Tyler Boyd had 2 or 3 really solid years when he was the number 1 on a shitty ass team, and that's what Tyler Lockett's been for the last 4 years or whatever. So
Yeah, he carried them, and I could see it happening, but also I could see, I mean, who knows? Seattle doesn't give a fuck about fantasy for sure.
I know they're the type of teams that'll fucking still like run the shitload out of the ball. With like they'll have Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Miller, and then still give their third running back. I know they don't have Travis Homer, but they still give like Travis Homer. The
They'll
fucking
probably
third down
draft like
rolls.
one in the first round or something next year or some
Yeah.
shit.
Ridiculous. Oh, lad, we didn't bring up Flipper Chip Bijan Robinson.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was so funny. I didn't watch the game or anything, but I was on Twitter and everyone's like, does anyone have a video of that Bijan Robinson run? And then I'm like, oh shit, what do you do? Fuck. And then like I'm searching Twitter, it must have been an inside joke because everyone's tweeting about it. And it's just a 12-yard run. It's like, what the fuck?
He do be nice like that though.
I don't know. It's something about that number 7 in that Atlanta jersey. He just looks faster. He looks like he fits the bill. Like I think he was the 7th overall pick too, so it's apropos.
I think he was, yeah, that's right around there.
Cassius, come here, bud. But yeah, so that's the last Flipper Chip. We'll probably wind it down here quick, but I'd say he's obviously a chip, but it makes you confident in Bijan Robinson for sure at this point.